Good evening, I'm Rebecca, and I will be talking to you about marriage and family. The myth is that counseling cannot help and that marriage are doomed to fail. The problem that we face is that people that seek counseling are usually at their wits' end, and one of them has already given up on the relationship. Changes, so we need to start with changes to the way we view the relationship, looking at it from an outside perspective, so that way the couple can see how their relationship can be without the the he said, she said, and the pointing fingers all the time. If there's any dysfunctional behavior such as abuse, then that needs to get addressed as well, either by other approaches to counseling and or getting them out of the situation, such as domestic violence shelter. Emotional avoidance, this is when somebody doesn't want to talk about their feelings, or both parties don't want to talk about their feelings. They avoid it, and it gives them a safe zone where they can start to talk about their feelings. A lot of the times this can be because of the fact that they weren't validated in the past when they brought up their feelings, so they shut down and don't want to express them. Improving communication. As we all know, communication is one of the most important aspects in relationships, especially in a relationship that's so intimate and close, such as a marriage. You have to be able to communicate, as both parties get frustrated and have different stressors throughout their days and in their relationship. So it's important to learn how to communicate correctly without creating more problems. So learning how to constructively talk and actively listen would benefit the couple. And promoting strengths. When you're doing couples counseling or family counseling, you're focused on the negatives to try to change that pattern. And so you want the couple to look at what they do well so that they end things on a good note and can see the positive in their relationship. Psychological research, I found that evidence-based practice is the biggest thing, and as one article I read said, if we do not convert, if marriage family counseling doesn't convert over to evidence-based practice situations, we can lose that family specific counseling, and it would go to more general counselors that provide evidence-based practices. Theology was found in my research to be one of the most important things. They did a research study looking at 6 different magazines that are family and marriage based, and found that happy marriages and successful marriages involved the families actively in churches and church communities. This was the rating. It got 13.2 out of the 664 articles. 114 of them had some kind of aspect of God in them. How they did the study was looking at articles. They pulled them by random, and they had 2 different reviewers look at them and determine if they believe there was a theological approach to the article or within the article. And if for some reason the reviewers didn't agree, they would bring in a 3rd reviewer to review the article. But they all looked at them separately and then made their determination. And that's how they got the numbers. When I looked at theological scholarships, this one impressed me the most. It was a $250,000 scholarship that you could get, and it was basically the full payment of a master's degree within their school, because they focused on no debt. They didn't want the student to have debt. It came from a nonprofit organization that their goal is to try to prevent people from getting in debt so they can do God's work and not have to worry about the financial aspect of it all. And they also had another one, if you didn't receive that scholarship, they had another one that would give you a tuition-only scholarship, and then all you'd have to worry about was your books and room and board, to also have a way of reducing debt. And they both incorporated not only God, but family therapy as well. And then looking at integrative writing, I found that this really great article on breaking it down from section to section and how you can integrate pieces, as there's not a standardized way of doing this. So they talked about making sure that the writing is clear for the writer and the reader, and making sure it applies to what your audience is, focusing on leaving sections together and organized, and then it broke it down to this diagram that you show here, the clinical history, and then behavior, and then the data testing and diagnosing, and what the final conclusion is, and then if you have any more research that needs to be done and what it might be. In conclusion, I felt like this was a well-rounded project for us to do. It gave us a great idea of, for me, what the aspects I would need to look into. It did say in one of my research things that being in this field of marriage and family is a really tough field, as when you're dealing with one person, you have that opportunity and time to discuss and come up with the best solution. But when you're going back and forth between a couple, if you spend too much time, it can get out of hand and end up not going as you've planned, or as the couple has planned, and they leave there worse than they feeling worse than they intended. And it's also taxing for the therapist as well. But continued training and hard work and dedication, it's something that people that get into the field are very passionate about and are very successful if they stick with all of their goals and in helping people. And of course, God is love, and He's the center of it all. Without God, we would not have the family, and we would not have marriages. And I feel like in this country, family values have gone down, and we need to get God back into the center of our lives so that way we can improve in this area. And this is why I feel so passionate about marriage and family. Thank you for your time, and God bless.